Hook, you ever think you've got your life under control, safe neighborhood, steady routine, people you trust around you? Then, in a split second, everything changes. That's what happened to me. My name's Daniel, and until a few months ago, I thought my battles were behind me. I'm a Navy SEAL commander, spent half my life in places where danger lurked behind every shadow, but I never expected the real threat would show up wearing a cheap badge in a quiet suburban street. And when that so-called cop slapped my wife to intimidate her, he didn't just cross a line, he declared war on the wrong man. Life had finally slowed down for me. After 20 years in the Navy leading men into the deadliest corners of the world, I was home. I wanted peace. My wife, Emily, deserved it more than anyone. She'd waded through deployments, through nights where the phone might ring with the worst news possible. She carried all the weight of being both mom and dad to our 2 kids. So, when we bought our house in a clean, gated neighborhood, we thought we'd found that peace. The homeowners association was strict, but we figured it was just the price for living somewhere safe. Rules about lawn length, parking spots, garbage pickup times. Annoying but manageable. But something about this HOA felt different. People whispered about fines they couldn't argue, sudden fees, security checks. That felt more like shakedowns. Still, I kept my head down. I wasn't looking for trouble. One night, I was stuck late helping a buddy move his disabled truck across town. Emily stayed home with the kids. Around 9 p.m., she took the trash out to the curb. That's when he showed up. A man in a faded uniform. Cheap, ill-fitting, with a fake-looking badge. Pulled up in a car marked with magnetic HOA security signs. He stepped out, puffing up his chest like he was law enforcement. Emily, polite as always, greeted him. But instead of a neighborly exchange, he started berating her about the improper placement of the trash can. She apologized, told him she'd move it. But he didn't want compliance. He wanted fear. When she tried to walk back inside, he blocked her path. Your husband thinks he doesn't have to follow the rules around here. He sneered. Emily, shaken, told him she'd speak with me. That's when he did the unthinkable. He slapped her. Hard. Said it was a warning. Emily stumbled back, holding her cheek, her eyes wide in disbelief. He pointed at her, threatening that if we didn't fall in line, there'd be consequences. Then he left like nothing had happened. When I came home and saw the redness on her face, the trembling in her hands, the tears she tried to hide from the kids, something in me snapped. I hadn't felt that kind of cold fury since combat. That man had no idea who he just messed with. The next morning, I went to the HOA office. 3 men sat behind a desk, smug smiles, acting like petty tyrants. When I mentioned the assault, their tone shifted from denial to mockery. Our security officer reported your wife was aggressive, one of them said. My blood boiled, but I kept calm. Years of SEAL training taught me patience, the quiet before a strike. That night, I started digging. Fake badge. Unregistered. Security company. The HOA board members all had financial ties to the same shell business. They weren't running a neighborhood. They were running a racket, extorting families under the guise of rules and security. But what they didn't count on was me. I set up cameras, gathered testimonies from other neighbors, stories of intimidation, harassment, even vandalism when people resisted. Emily stood beside me through it all, stronger than ever despite what she'd endured. Then came the confrontation. One evening, as the fake cop circled back to our house, I was waiting, not as a hot-headed husband, but as a commander who'd stared down terrorists. He strutted up the driveway, same sneer, same arrogance. Your wife home. Maybe she needs another reminder. That was his last mistake. I stepped into the light. Calm, steady, every muscle coiled like steel. You're done here, I said. He laughed, until I pulled out a folder of evidence. Photos, videos, witness statements. Then he tried to get physical. Bad move. In less than 5 seconds, he was on the ground, face pressed to the pavement, wrists pinned behind his back. My voice was low, steady. I've dealt with men 10 times tougher than you. You think you're scary? You're just pathetic. Police arrived minutes later. Real police. Turns out, the evidence I'd gathered was enough to unravel the entire scheme. The HOA board, the fake security company, the man who laid hands on my wife, they were all arrested. In the days that followed, the neighborhood transformed. Families who'd lived in fear stepped out with relief. Emily, she was safe again, her smile returning piece by piece. And me, I realized something. Peace isn't the absence of danger. It's the courage to face it, protect what you love, and never back down when evil tries to stake a claim on your home. Closing message. So if you take anything from my story, let it be this. You don't need to be a Navy SEAL to stand up for your family, your community, or what's right. Courage comes in different forms. But when someone crosses the line, when they try to intimidate or harm the people you love, you show them that line is drawn in steel. Evil only wins if good men stay silent. And in my home, silence will never be an option.